If you are out there dating, trying to understand romance, how to connect with humans, and do it in a way authentically, and maybe you're sick of dating, this episode is for you because I have one of the country's top dating specialists. I'm so excited to introduce Connell Barrett. He's been described as the real authentic Twitch. You guys remember that movie Twitch with the dating coach? He's the real deal. And he's going to share with us why dating is so complex these days, and especially as AI changes our world. Greetings, Connell. Good to see you.
Adele, I am so happy to be with you today. Thank you for having me.
This is going to be a juicy conversation because wouldn't you agree, Connell, that men are curious about women, women are curious about men. We're trying to find each other in this thing called dating and romance, and it's not always easy, right? This is your realm.
I think looking for love, the topic, it might be the most universally magnetic topic, right up there with where can I get a good coffee and
Exactly.
how can I lose those last 10 pounds? We're all fascinated by love because we all need love. When we have it, life is better. When we don't, life can hurt.
Oh my gosh, I can so relate to this on a personal level. Folks, I just want to tell you a little bit more about Connell's background. He's the author, best-selling author of the book, Dating Sucks So You Don't. Just love that title. And he hosts the How to Get a Girlfriend podcast, where he specializes in helping, would you say, introverted men attract a great girlfriend? Is that kind of your specialty?
Yes, shy guys,
Hi, guys.
men who are very business oriented, analytical, logical. They're really good with a spreadsheet, but they don't know anything about the bed sheets.
Oh my gosh. How did we get here? Before I get into your background and how you got into this as a specialist in dating, how did we get to this point in history where this is the thing everyone, before there were computers, before AI came along, we were all wanting this anyway. And now it seems even harder. Tell us a little bit about what you see now, like how we got here and what the landscape is looking like these days.
The landscape is so digital. It's AI, it's apps, it's social media. And what's crazy is we still have our same minds, hearts, bodies as we had 100,000 years ago as Homo sapiens. But now we're all dating with all of these screens and noise and apps. And so that can create so much noise and confusion and make it harder to do the most core essential thing that is so important in finding love, or I should say, connecting with somebody who can bring love into your life, which is being vulnerable, being real, being human, and making a human connection. It's ironic. Everyone needs a human connection, yet in a way, we've never been more distant because of technology.
Here, here. And especially with the technology, on this podcast, I'm talking a lot about how our lives are being impacted. Human behavior, our experience is being impacted by tech and AI. And I know these things were originally designed to help us. I think we all know that how the dating apps have become interesting in themselves. And now with the onset of AI, what are you noticing out there in terms of how this technology is shaping the dating world, the things you talk to guys about? It's relatively new, but you've probably already started to see whiffs of it in how it's impacting dating.
It's here's how it's impacted people, single people. It's a lot like capitalism at its worst. The top 1, 2, 3% get all the matches online, all the swipes, and the bottom 90 or so percent have to really struggle. That sucks for the 90%. But unlike rich people in the world of finance and money, even the top 3% of people dating, they get stressed out because they have so many opportunities. I once had a first date with a woman and I was curious. I said, "May I see your Bumble profile?" And she knows I'm a dating coach. And she said, "Sure, let me take a look at it." She had 714 likes.
Oh my goodness.
She was overwhelmed. She wasn't happy about it. She said, "Oh my
Mhm.
God, I can't answer 10 of these, let alone 700." So, because of technology, it has democratized dating. If you match a certain physical or social criteria online, you're going to be, quote, rich. You're going to be one of those top 3%. But if you don't, it can be really hard to get matches, to get dates, and find love. And it wasn't this way 25 years ago.
Yeah, that's such a curious way you put it. De-democrat, how do you
It's
say
de-democratize dating.
de-democratizing data? Say more about that. This idea that 1 or 2% get so many that it's uncomfortably overwhelming,
Right.
and then a whole bunch of people struggle.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Well,
Yeah, what do you think
30
that says about humans that it ends up this unbalanced? Is it the whole stereotypical money versus appearance thing, or what's causing this massive de-democratizing of dating?
well, any dating app is essentially a machine that rewards certain indicators of social value, or in this case, romantic value, style, looks, the right kinds of photos. So, someone who is photogenic or who hits the boxes that a lot of the opposite sex, or frankly, the same sex want,
Mhm.
that person is going to be rewarded. The 6'4" finance guy with six pack abs, definitely not me. The tall, beautiful, model esque woman, she'll have thousands of likes a week. But other people who are just as attractive in
Mhm.
various ways, inside and out, they're punished for not matching the criteria that Bumble, Hinge, Tinder
Mhm.
demand for you to get good dating leads. So that's what I mean by de-democratizing dating, as opposed to what it was 30 years ago. Can I share
Wow.
a quick story about how my mom and
I
dad
would
met?
love, yes, I'd love to hear it. So you're saying some of this is driven by, is it the algorithms that decide who is photographic and who is not, or is it just, I don't know, who is doing the sorting?
Well, the algorithms reward engagement on
Oh,
any social media app, right?
okay.
So it's a human desire to look at someone's photo, and a man might look at the woman in the low cut top or the bikini. He'll swipe right. A woman
Mhm.
might look at the 6'4" rock ribbed
Mhm.
Hollywood handsome guy and she'll swipe right on him. But what about the 5'8", nice, big hearted, sweet guy who has so much to offer and
Mhm.
he's a nerd, but he's brilliantly smart at his software job? He could very well struggle on that dating app, especially if he's not a white man in a
Mhm.
very white leaning country right now in a lot of ways. So that's what I mean by the rich getting richer and the poor proverbially getting poorer on the apps.
Wow, hadn't thought about that. So it doesn't even matter if someone gets a click or not, just that the apps realize when someone is looking at you, and then that just begets more views or something. Uh,
Right.
okay.
Yeah. So, in a way, we're all conditioned to, as humans, we're conditioned to gravitate romantically towards somebody who can help us thrive and survive. That goes back to our ancestors on the African savannah. How do we thrive and survive? And whether it's, I think it's a combination of evolution and just social conditioning. There are certain types that men and women respectively are attracted to. And if you match that top tier type on a dating app, the algorithm will reward you. But that 5'7" nerdy guy or the woman who doesn't have model looks, but she's beautiful inside and out in other ways, these wonderful people can struggle. My job is to help break that algorithm down and help them change the way that other people see them so you can convey that authentic value, that authentic attractiveness, and find love.
Yay, I love that. So you were about to share a story. It sounds really intriguing. I'd love to hear it.
Just how my mom and dad met 50 plus years ago. In the olden days, by which I mean before Tinder launched in 2007, people used to have to meet in real life. You would walk up to somebody, you would say hello, you would do what my dad did, which is my dad walked up to my future mother, his future wife, at a wedding and asked her to dance. And he tried to impress her, but he clumsily spun her into a palm tree. It was
Oops.
a Caribbean themed wedding, and he accidentally clumsily knocked her over. And because of that, organic opportunity happened in the moment he realized, hey, if I take good care of her, that's more time I get to spend with this beautiful young woman named Greta. And long story short, they obviously got together and fell in love. And I'm here talking to you right now, Adele. My point is that would never happen today. Or it's so much rarer for that kind of thing to happen where someone just says, hey, look at that intriguing, attractive stranger. I'm going to go take a moment to have a romantic risk. I want to go give that person a rom-com movie moment which is what I want men and women to do, is to take chances out in the real world. But because of the dating apps, because of how drastically dating has changed in the last 20 years, you're not having nearly as many people meet at a wedding, in a coffee shop, even at work. People don't do that anymore. 46% of marriages and relationships now begin online.
Wow. That's amazing. That's quite high. And I was just thinking how I guess the idea is that this technology is supposed to screen people for us and save us these embarrassing rom-com moments and do a lot of like pre-first date stuff. And but it sounds like what you're saying is that we lose a lot of opportunity for the real life awkwardness, the spinning someone, oops, and they hit a
Right.
tree or whatever, and we
Right.
and we have a laugh about it a few years later. But now there's no serendipity. There's no way to just accidentally bump into someone, it seems.
You're right. Well, you can certainly create those serendipitous moments, but
Mhm.
we live in a culture now where more and more people believe that's not how it's done. And
Mm,
we all want to act the way the rest of the tribe thinks we should act. So
right.
fewer and fewer people take that in real life chance the way that my dad did 50 plus years ago. And by the way, I want to be clear about one thing, if I may. I'm pro dating apps as a tool. I think it should be a tool that you have in your dating toolbox. I met my incredible girlfriend Jess on a dating app, and I have absolutely no qualms about saying that. What I want to push back against is the way that culture has made online dating and social media pretty much the, not the only way, but the primary way people now meet and connect. And isn't it just silly that we live in this, we've been humans for hundreds of thousands of years, yet we're now dating because of what these little square boxes tell us we're supposed to do, that were only invented about 15, 20 years ago. That's not human. That's that's just not the way it should be. So I think dating apps and dating online should be a tool, but it shouldn't be a crutch. It shouldn't be your entire dating strategy.
I think for a lot of people, they don't know what else to do. Like it becomes the one way rather than, like you said, a tool. How else would you meet? I don't know if it's people losing basic skills of walking up to someone they don't know and saying, "Hi, my name is Adele." Like nobody does that anymore.
I know.
It would be seen as kind of odd, but that's kind of how people met before the internet. And if we don't have that skill set, we're left to using these devices to do that work for us. I
Right,
think,
but is it
yeah,
odd? What's more odd? Walking up to somebody and starting a very human, genuine conversation and seeing if there's romantic chemistry, or taking out a phone made of lithium and metal, it's in a box, and swiping on a screen until you see the right duck face photo of somebody who's got the right lighting, and hitting a little heart and sending messages back and forth that are tailored and algorithmized. Which is more human? I think it's way more human and healthy to just see somebody, say something to them, and let humans be humans.
yeah. And it's also these devices have also spawned a whole industry of people optimizing your profile,
Right.
optimizing your headshot. Let us use AI to make you look good.
I
Can you
know.
speak to something like that? Because that makes us, of course, everyone wants to present themselves in the most positive light because first impressions or whatever.
Yeah.
But at what point are you noticing it that it's starting to get not so authentic in the desire to be
Here's
noticeable?
here's a cautionary tale for any. It's not even about your single listeners. It can be this. I think this is a great lesson about not allowing us to digitalize a fake version of ourselves. I have a client, I'm going to call him Darren. And Darren came to me and he said, Connell, I'm really struggling on dates. Women just don't want a second date with me. I'm flirting wrong. I don't have good game. There's something missing. And I said, okay, well, let me take a look. So I went out and I was a spy on one of his dates. I got to the bar early. I sat up at the bar. I watched him meet this woman, thinking, all right, I want to see if he's doing something awkward or saying the wrong things. He knew I was there. She didn't. So I'm like a dating spy. Adele, I have a really cool, weird job.
I love this. You really are like the real life coach
I
because I
really
think
am.
I think that's what Twitch did in the movie.
It's just like Will Smith in that movie.
Yeah.
I'm just like Hitch, except I would never slap Chris Rock. I
Oh, it's
promise
Hitch.
you.
Yeah, not Twitch. It's Hitch. That's right. Yeah.
Well, when he slapped Chris Rock at the Oscars, he made him twitch. So maybe
Yeah.
that's where that came from.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm on the date, so to speak, with Darren and this woman, and I'm looking over at him thinking, okay, I'm not noticing he's doing anything really wrong. And then I look at his online dating profile, and then I look at him, and I realize these photos do not represent Darren. It literally looked like a different person. And afterwards, I went to him and I said, "Can you tell me about these photos? Who took these?" He said, "Oh, I these are real photos, but then I had the guy use AI embellishing for my face to brighten up my smile and my teeth." And I said, does not look like you." So what was happening to Darren is women thought they were meeting Darren, but they met a totally different version of him. He looked like Darren's cooler, handsomer brother with more hair. That's not
Wow.
who he is. So he was not struggling with his flirting or his even his confidence. He was struggling because women thought they were getting AI Darren instead of the real authentic Darren. So that's what we have to be aware of in dating, and I think in social communications and digital communications in general. If we put out a version of ourselves that is so fake and inauthentic, then it's going to come back to hurt you in some way, shape, or form, whether it's a woman or a single person who says, "This doesn't look like you." Or maybe you've been having business interactions with a AI chat box, and that person thinks it's a human, but it's actually a robot.
Yeah.
And then you lose that business if they feel like there's an incongruity there.
Yeah, and I always laugh when people sit around and try to duplicate authenticity, which sounds like an oxymoron. But as we know, authenticity is the human cry in all this.
Yeah,
We want realness. Everybody does. So there's this idea, okay, how can I maximize that? How can I make more of that? And so we can use a chat bot to duplicate you,
right.
your face, your voice, and isn't this a good thing? And I know some of the apps, the dating apps are even talking about creating bots that can go on dates for you. So you can have a chat bot or some other replica of you go on a date with someone else to see how it goes first. Then they report back to you, and then you'll go on the real date. And this idea that this would save time, it would save people heartache, no one would feel rejected. I understand that there is a part of that that makes sense. But what would you think of something like that? Because it's coming, these interesting uses of AI to make our authentic selves more authentic or something like that. I
Well,
really don't know. But
once you
what would a hitch coach say to that?
here's what I'll say to that. You and I had one other conversation about this before we recorded today, and you made a great point. You said, "You know what? I hear a lot about authenticity. Authenticity this, authenticity that. What does that even mean, or has it is that too vague?" So here's my definition of authentic. Something that's authentic means that it's one of a kind, it's original, and that it has some real value and utility to someone or some other people. So there's no such thing as an authentic piece of garbage that you see in a in the garbage, but there's an authentic slice of pizza. There's an authentic voice at a meeting that cuts through the BS and calls out the truth. Another example I like is an authentic Picasso. There's only one of a kind. That authentic
Mm,
Picasso is worth $15 million. You make
mhm.
a photograph copy of that, you have a nice print, it's worth 50 bucks. So once you copy yourself in an AI form, you instantly become inauthentic. You lose the core definition of what authenticity is, which is one of a kindness, uniqueness, like no other version. There's only one Picasso painting, and there's only one Adele, only one Connell. And if AI robot Connell was doing this interview with you, even if he said and did all the same things I'm saying and doing, it would still be a copy of me. So it's not really authentic. So I say AI cannot duplicate authenticity. It can only do a pale impersonation. It might be a good impersonation, but there's still something off. Just like an art critic can look at a fake Picasso and say, that's not the real thing.
Yeah, I imagine that a lot of single people have their guard up now to sniff out anything that looks a little bit manipulated or too good to be true, or
Yeah.
everyone's just gotten so much thrown at them that we're all just, what is real? And I think that's half of the anxiety on these dating apps. I don't know, but it seems like people just want to know, is this person real?
Right. Right.
Maybe their
So,
profile's beautifully optimized, their
right.
phone's perfectly angled. I don't know, but it seems like a lot of work to try to cut through the noise, which I understand based on what we were saying earlier. You try to do that, but at some point, it also seems to make people not quite trust what they're seeing, or
Yes.
it's a double-edged sword, isn't it?
Absolutely. People are have their guard up for something false, or at least something presenting itself as real that's false. I had a prompt on my Bumble profile that I came up with. I'm happy to say on my own. I didn't use any sort of AI. I just thought it was a funny comment. My prompt on Bumble read, if you like tall, handsome, witty, intelligent, financially secure, charming men who love dogs and volunteer every weekend, then you should meet my brother. So a little joke to make women think I was bragging, and then a little joke at the end. And I
Mhm.
got a wonderful woman who matched with me, and her first question was, "Oh, that was really funny. Did you write that or was that ChatGPT?" That's
Really?
her first
People are
question.
asking that
Yeah.
now?
Yeah.
Oh,
She
then
was she had her inauthenticity detector out, her fake detector. And I appreciated her asking that. I get it. A lot of people are trying to go on dates with her and match with her and date her. She's a very attractive, intriguing woman. And she has to screen out people who aren't putting their real selves out there. And it's so important because it's so important to put that real self out there. And because we all want something real and something that is the genuine. I think it comes down to we all want the genuine article. It's just wired into us for some reason that might be mysterious, but it's just there.
well, I think with dating, there's the idea that if I date hard enough, if I go through enough people, like volume, like it's a numbers game, almost like playing the lottery. But
Right.
back in the day, I don't think people went on hundreds of dates to find their person. If you lived in a small town, maybe you would date, I don't know, 10 people, 20. I don't know. It just seems like the scale of what people are doing now in terms of first dates, it seems like quantity is much higher, but
Right.
the result seems lower. And I don't know if I'm just making that up, but it just
No,
seems like it takes
you're
a lot more numbers now to find your person, which seems odd. But what would
yeah,
you say on that?
you're
Yeah.
absolutely on point. You're not making it up. Those the rich get richer. Let's say it's 10%, 90%. The 10 most attractive people or most swipeable people on dating apps have so many options that it's hard for them to keep their head straight. And
Mhm.
some of these people are going to be overwhelmed by that and just want to date one or two people. But so many of them are going to say, well, I do have these other 23 matches. Maybe I'll see where it goes with that guy or that woman. And it might be hard for them to take a moment and just say, let me see how closely I can connect with this man or woman. And then you have the 90% who are the people who come to me for coaching often, which is I'm not getting any good leads. The dating apps don't work. The dating apps suck. Maybe argue possibly Adele, the most universal complaint about dating in 2025 might just be dating apps don't work. They just don't work. And that's true. They don't work for the majority of people because it's a rich get richer, poor get poorer creation that rewards only a certain kind of person. And the fix for that is to not just be on the apps, but to create, and I'll go into a second what this might mean, but I want someone to give themselves multiple, I'm a businessman, multiple funnels of people to meet and to date, not to be a person who has to go on 100 dates, but to give yourself options so you can say, oh, I'm going to go on one or two dates with these one or two people and see who I have the best human connection with.
I love that because it seems that if people have hundreds of people to go out with, it's hard to stay present.
Yeah.
If there's always this noise, I could find someone better, you're not really present with the person. Maybe the first person out of the gate is your person, but you won't know that till you go date all the other 200 in your list.
Right.
And same thing with someone who's not getting as many matches. Is the one and done, is this the only option I have? This one person who I went out with? And yeah, it's an interesting psychological thing that happens when if either too many that I can't be present, or I'm just not meeting enough people and I might have to settle. I hope that doesn't happen. But I love how you just put about finding the connection instead of relying on the numbers game.
Right. I mean, we want enough numbers to give ourselves some options so we don't settle, right? Settling is, well, this is the only good person who kind of is sort of into me. I guess I'll settle. And
I'll
I
go out
did,
with them again because it was all right.
I don't
Yeah,
want to be alone.
yeah.
It's either marry this guy or gal or watch Wheel of Fortune every night alone and give up on love. And that was me for the first 30 some years of my life.
A lot of
I,
people feel that way, a lot of people. So I'm so excited at your message on authenticity and how you're even defining it because it's a word that's so overused. I always cringe to hear it because no one really seems to know what it, we have a visceral feeling,
right.
but not a commonly
Yeah.
understood one. Yeah.
It's like, what's the old line from the Supreme Court? We don't know how to define, um, what's the word?
Obscenity. Yeah,
Obscenity.
obscenity.
We just know
Yeah,
it when we
but
see
we
it.
know it when we see
It's
exactly.
like authenticity is the virtuous flip of that. It's like it's hard to define it, but we know it when we see it. My definition is, again, genuine article, something that's true at your core and that has some real value for others and the world. It's about having some utility. It brings something to the table because at the end of the day, with dating and love, all we're looking for is somebody who can help me thrive and survive, find love and connection. And then it's a beautiful, virtuous uh, quid pro quo where we give each other love and comfort and support and connection, but it's about what we bring to the table. So authenticity to me has to include this is something that can help at least one other person be
Oh,
happier.
just the feel of that, the way you speak, it makes me feel very settled in my body because it's an energetic thing. It's not a
Mm,
concept. Like you said, you know it when you feel it, and it's hard to describe. And
absolutely.
I feel like this is going to be just, in talking to the people that I speak to on the human experience and this AI stuff, this is going to become even more important because AI is changing the world. But at the end of the day, we still need partners or people around us to be human. And how do we do that when all these apps and AI chatbots and Photoshop this and it's getting harder to try to be authentic. And part of me thinks, if you have to work so hard to be authentic, is that really authentic? Like if I have to try to be authentic, by definition, I'm already not, right? So I'm curious, this is hard for people, especially if
Mm.
you're exposed. What are things that you tell your wonderful nerdy guys that feel like that must feel like getting kicked in the teeth over and over and over again to either not get the interest or be rejected. I think after a while people just give up. I'd love to hear what words of wisdom can you share with if you're out there single and you're just feel either giving up or you're tired of being rejected, listen to the real life Hitch.
Well, thank you for that. I would say the most important thing we all have to check in on every single day, every morning, my clients do what I call a confidence kickoff. By the way, 90% of what I teach is for, even though I coach men, it works for women.
Oh,
Authenticity, yeah,
yay,
absolutely.
everybody. Yeah, Connell helps women too. So this is good. Yeah.
So please don't feel like, oh, he's only talking to introverted men. The most important thing is we all need to say, I'm enough. I am worthy of love. I have a lot to bring to the table. I am a great catch. And it's just about finding the right person for me. Because if you walk through your dating life feeling, oh, I'm just not good looking enough or rich enough or successful enough yet to find somebody, then that's going to create so much self doubt and it's going to hinder you and make it so hard to be genuine and confidently, or at least you could be genuine but maybe not confident. And so first we just have to all understand, hey, I am enough, I am more than enough. The very first night I ever went out to socialize to try to meet women, this is 15 plus years ago when I first started working on my dating life, Adele. By the way, I was racked with self doubt. I was lonely and dateless well into my 30s. I thought I'm just a skinny, nerdy ginger who's shy, and women don't like guys like me. They want alpha males. And the very first night I ever went out to go out and meet women, before my coach, and I hired a coach to do it, before I went out on this rooftop bar in New York City, I said, "Excuse me, Ryan, I'll be right back." And I went into the men's room stall and I had a panic attack I started shaking and I actually threw up stomach acid. I wasn't drinking. I got the dry heaves and it was a panic attack. And I realize now I was afraid that I was about to find out that I was unworthy and not good enough for love. And my body was reacting to that fear. It was completely between the ears. It was a total BS story that my brain had made up. And for that's an extreme example, but for anybody who's listening who thinks, am I good enough am I good enough for love? Am I worthy? Or just am I worthy as a person? I really recommend every day you stop and say, all right, what are 5 things about me that make me a great person, that make me a good friend, that make me a good mom or dad? Whether you're single or not, got to get in touch with that daily sense of worth, your enoughness. It all starts there.
Oh, beautifully put. And I love that you lived this. This is probably why you're doing what you do now, that I imagine you learned so much on your own journey. Is that kind of what led you to become a dating coach? Just based on, it's not like dating was easy for you in the beginning,
Right.
it sounds
I
like.
did not major in dating coaching in college. I never thought I was going to be doing this.
Well,
I was
sometimes there's the college jock or the
yeah,
girl that has a million dates. And so when you hear about them being a dating or relationship coach, I'm like, wow, it was easy for you. But I
right.
like that you lived your own experience and you can relate to people who didn't have.
Absolutely. Yeah. I can relate to men, but I can relate to most of what women deal with as well because these are universal human
These are
things.
universal.
Yeah.
What
Doubting
do
yourself, welcome to being human, right?
being human at heart? What do men most want women to know? Like, is there some secret that men wish women understood? Or if there's a woman out there just trying to understand men a little bit better for her own dating life,
That's a
what
great
would be
question.
useful? Yeah.
Adele.
It's almost like we're some different
Yeah.
species sometimes, but we're trying to come together.
Right. I think that's such a great question. No one's ever asked me that. I want to give you a really honest, present answer. The thing that men most want women to know, I think, is I am afraid to talk to you, not because I lack confidence in myself, but because I'm afraid that I'll creep you out and I'm a gentleman. I don't want to do that. I think the most common thing that single men are afraid of is I've had so many guys say, "Oh, I don't want to bother that nice woman at the gym.
Oh my God, I'm getting chills at this. Keep
I don't
going.
wanna I don't wanna creep her out. I don't wanna do anything to make her uncomfortable," and that is coming from the best place in men's hearts. I was the same way, and what I hear these men say is, "I don't wanna bother them. I don't wanna be that
Where did that
creepy
come from?
guy."
Did this,
Well,
are we in a culture that has sort of treated men as, I don't know, overly aggressive or something? Like, why would a simple hello be construed as being creepy? But uh,
partially because social conditioning has changed in the last 20 plus years since Tinder changed dating forever. It is even less normal, quote unquote, normal or acceptable to approach a woman. So social media has a lot of women understandably saying, guys, stop bothering me. Don't hit on me at the gym. I just want to work out. And I agree with those women.
I
I
see.
don't want men to hit on women. What I want men to do is walk up to a woman with charm and empathy and notice how she's feeling and try to make her day 1% better with a compliment, with a question, with some kind of social small gift and to see if there's social interest from her. Don't hit on anybody, don't approach anybody, don't put the moves on. To me, that's a charming and, if I may say, authentic and gentlemanly way to do this. And that's what I help men do.
I
But
love that. Yeah, because women are sometimes women get together, they go out and they complain, and all these men hit on them. And I'm like, well, would you rather have nobody? Like, you got all dressed up,
right,
you went to a club. Would you rather no one noticed you? And
right,
so I think women have a desire to be noticed, but at the same time, there seems to be this anxiety about how to be approached.
right,
Who are you? And so maybe that's the bridge that both men and women are trying to cross, that we want connection, but it's that first reach out that seems sometimes a little awkward, or men don't
yeah,
want to be one of the bad guys. I don't want to be a stalker. I don't want to be
right,
like putting moves on anybody because that feels awful. But
right. And so
yeah,
that fearful voice of self-doubt from men saying, I don't want to bother you. I don't want to you to think I'm weird. It's empathetic. It's actually coming from a really healthy place of worrying about what other people think of you, of wanting to society to approve of you. Who doesn't have those thoughts? Sociopaths,
Yeah.
cat callers,
Yeah.
true actual creeps. The problem is these nice guys, the younger me basically, and all my clients to a T, the fact that they're good-hearted and empathetic creates the very resistance that either stops them from either taking that chance, or it makes the actual approach when they finally drum up the courage to do it, they're walking on eggshells, their voice gets quiet. Excuse me. Here, Adele, let me do a little demonstration
I
for
would
you.
love to see it.
I am going to approach you the way that a scared, shy, good-hearted, but frightened man would do it, okay? Okay, you're in a bookstore. I walk up to you. Here we go. Hi, excuse me? Pardon me? Excuse hi. Hello? I'm over here. I j I just wanted to I hope I'm not bothering you, but I just wanted to say that I like that book. Am I bothering you? Okay, how did that feel to you?
A little bit weird.
There you go.
Yeah.
Because he's afraid of coming off as weird, he ends up sounding weird. Now, let me do version 2 of this, okay? Here we go.
Mhm.
Hey, excuse me. I see you're reading, that XYZ book. I love that book. I love that book. What do you like most about it?
I don't know, but I've heard good things about it. I'm thinking of getting it.
It's nice to see that people still read actual books instead of scrolling on their
Yeah.
Instagram. That's very cool.
Imagine that. Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. Okay, we keep chatting.
It
How did that feel, at least vibe-wise?
felt great
Okay, just
because just
like I belong there. It was okay for
yeah,
me to talk.
it was totally okay. How do men feel about being approached by women? Is that
Oh
still
my god.
it
We
it
love it.
what okay, ladies, pay
We love
attention.
it.
Tell us
Yes,
more. Yeah.
we love it. Quick story. I'm on the subway 15 plus years ago. Have my nephew and niece are visiting me for their 16th birthdays, same age. And for the first and one of very rare times in my life, a woman turns to me and she starts talking to me. She says, "Hey, did you hear the conductor's voice? He sounds like he's from XYZ country," which was a very random thing to say. But I could and she was smiling. She was well dressed. She was giving me a nice look and a smile. And I realized, oh, she's just trying to talk to me. She's approaching me. It felt incredible,
Mhm.
especially because my nephew was looking at me and I'm thinking, yeah, cool Uncle Connell. But anyway, it felt so great. So I think there's a big myth with a lot of single women, and they think I can't approach a guy. It's not ladylike. It's masculine. It's manly. It's a turn
I
off.
yeah, I think there's this idea that if they make the first move, they'll end up having to do the first to lead the whole relationship. That I've noticed that is a fear that however it starts, that's why it's better if the guy approaches you because
Yeah.
you approach him and feels emasculated or whatever. And I don't know, things have changed.
Here's
Once upon a time, women would be counseled to wait to be approached.
right. So a few minutes ago, you said, "What do men really want women to know?" Here's what it is. If you give me some little signal, like a simple little compliment or a look and a smile, then we'll take the lead. That's what men want women to know. We'll lead
Mhm.
that dance, but we
Mhm.
want to know it's okay.
A
So
little bit of a signal first. Yeah.
drop the proverbial handkerchief. Make it
Okay.
easy for us.
Oh my
So
gosh. Ladies, I know my female listeners will love this because sometimes there's this anger that I have to sit and wait. And when's the
I
guy
get it.
going to call? And
I get
you
it.
didn't call by Wednesday. Should I go out with him? Like there's this whole thing. I understand there's quite a bit of anxiety on both sides to not be a creep, not be masculine, not be too forward, not to
Yeah,
be too hard, playing hard to get. I'm like, oh my God, how did this get so hard? And now we have bots and AI engines that are trying to
right.
help, just making it worse.
Well, let me answer a different question. What do I want women to know about how men feel? Men are petrified of making a move and having it rejected. Petrified. Just like I was hyperventilating in that bathroom stall that night. So, in terms of women approaching men, you don't need to do it in a direct masculine way. You can approach wordlessly. You can look at a man and hold his eye contact for just a couple of seconds and smile and then look away, and that will probably give him a green light. Or if you're feeling a little extra bold, but this is a very sweet feminine thing to do, you can say to a man, "Excuse me, sir, I really like your choose any article of clothing that you find interesting. His tie, his sneakers, anything. Give him a simple compliment about his style. And I can almost guarantee you that this man will, if he's single
Mhm.
and even marginally interested, he will then take the ball and run with it. He'll start switching metaphors. He'll lead the dance
I love that. I've
because
noticed
you just gave him what he wants
this.
most. I don't want to get
Yes.
rejected. Oh, thank you. Now I know I can lead.
It's just decent conversation. It's not even wink, this. It's just, hey, and I've noticed how these days people seem reluctant to even look at each other in the eye in public.
Yeah.
That makes it hard because if someone does look at you, it's different. Whereas I noticed in Europe when I was there, it's people just seem to have much more ease with each other. But I don't know. It's don't know if that's true or not. I just know that in public places, no one actually sees each other. Right? You might be on the subway smack dab next to someone, and there's none of this. And
Right.
maybe it's because that's too close as far as psychological distance. Don't know. And you would know because you're in Manhattan. You would see this every day.
I have a mission for your listener if they're up for it. And this is not a dating thing. This is a human thing. This is a social mission for anybody. Play the Mission Impossible. Cue Mission Impossible music. Here's your mission, should you choose to accept it. Go out of your way once a day, or do it once a day for a week. See how it feels. And break the ice with a person in real life whom you don't know. Make some sort of personal compliment, question, or observation. And that could be to start, you could wave at somebody who's got their headphones in. Everybody's wearing headphones all the time, right? You give them a little wave. You make the take your headphones out motion. And you say, "Excuse me, I apologize. I don't usually do this, but I'm curious. What are you listening to? Is it music or is it a podcast? I'm just wondering." You're showing interest in them.
Yes, I love
And
that.
you're
Yeah.
also, a lot of people are like, "Oh, I don't wanna bother them." They have their headset in, and I get that. It comes from a good place of social, calibration and wanting people to feel good about you, but you never know. They might be thrilled that somebody's actually taking a moment to give them an actual human moment, and you might make a friend, you might make a business contact. It'll feel good just to get out of your head for 2 minutes and talk to somebody and hopefully make their day a little better.
I love that. And I can hear my inner nervousness. I could imagine someone, what? I don't
What?
know if
Wait,
they
what?
would or not,
Yeah,
and there are people who wear headphones just to not be bothered, like on
yeah,
planes, like, "I don't wanna talk to people," and
I
it's a
get that.
strategic leave me alone signal, but these are so amazing tips. I love how down to earth you are. I get goosebumps thinking about what could happen to us as a species if we just connected more to each other. I mean, a lot of this
Yeah,
isn't even dating, it's just
it's about human. Yeah.
so,
Can
folks, don't let the robots win. Okay, so use AI and all that stuff where it's useful, but don't lose your humanity. Because if we do, then we're all lost. And I'm taking a stand for both. Yes, because I'm doing this AI consulting stuff, but also the human coaching side is critical. I would rather we be strong in both instead of this funky gray area in the middle where we're not fully one or the other. They both have value. But if we start mistaking AI, falling in love with bots online or something like that, let's keep humans staying human. What would you say on that?
I 100% agree. I have a girlfriend, by the way. I'm very monogamous and in love, and Jess and I are a couple. But because I have a weird job, I sometimes do things like video dates. They're not real dates, but I do them for part of my coaching. And I did a quote video date with a woman I matched with on Tinder a couple months ago. And we hop on a video call. And for about 20 seconds, I'm talking to her and she seems normal and everything seems fine. And I realize I'm talking to a digital face.
Oh no.
It was not her actual face.
Oh
It
my goodness.
was
Yeah.
some sort of filter
Yeah. It can
that
be done now. Yeah. I know
it's,
exactly what she probably did.
and it was repulsive. I don't mean her behavior was. I mean, the
Right.
feeling I got was, ugh, this isn't real. This is a
Yep.
bot. And it completely, it left me really cold. And I wasn't mad at her. I just remember thinking, wow, that was so cold and not human. And so again, I don't know why she did that, if she was insecure about her looks or if it was not even really her. But the bottom line is, yeah, those avatars,
Yeah.
those aren't
I
real.
I can see that the desire was to save time. Imagine if
Mm.
you had a dating bot, you could go on 10 dates at a time, sit home and watch TV and just wait for the reports to come in. Wouldn't that
Right.
save you heartbreak? You don't have to get dressed.
Right.
Every but oh my goodness.
Why stop there? Let's have a avatar go get married on my behalf and have
Yeah, yeah.
digital children for 10 years, and I don't have
I
to
could
do
have
that.
dates in foreign countries. I could there's this idea that there's the one on the planet, and so I gotta go through thousands of dates now, not just 10 or 20. So it'll be very interesting how our world changes. But this has been amazing, Connell. I've really enjoyed this conversation. We could have you on the phone all day, but I don't want this podcast to go on so long. We'll have you back.
I'd love to.
Definitely.
Thank you.
Definitely. Everybody, go to datingtransformation.com to learn more about this amazing Hitch coaches of talents in one-on-one coaching. Get his book, Dating Sucks, But You Don't, which I love. Did you come see my brain's, did you come up with that title or was that Chat GPT? I'll bet you just came up with that
Well,
intuitively.
it actually 30 seconds and I'll let you finish your pod here. Actually, my literary agent came up with the name because there's a section of my book where I was telling a client in my book, I said to him, David, you think that you suck, that women don't like you because they don't match with you on Tinder? You don't suck. You're awesome. Tinder sucks. Your profile sucks, but you're an amazing guy. The message was, you're awesome. Your profile is what sucked. So he said, "Hey, that sounds like a pretty good book title." So that's a great message. It's
And
if
I'm
you're
sure,
struggling with dating, you're amazing. It's just that dating is a little sucky.
yeah, yeah. This has been amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Everybody,
Adele.
I will have all this information in the show notes and so many gems for everyone here, whether you're dating or even if you're in a relationship and curious about how men think, how our species is evolving in this crazy world, what we are fundamentally all wired to do for connection. Don't let the bots take over AI and all this Photoshop, all that stuff. You're a human and your person is out there. And yeah, so thank you so much. Until next time.
Bye bye. Thank you.